Bulabinaka, my name is Litia and I'm from the beautiful island of Laos and I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rock.
My name is Casey, I'm from Tabua. We love Today FM in Tabua. Today FM rocks.
My name is Selina, I'm from Tavenga Vengamba. I love listening to Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Pula, my name is Carlo. I love listening to the music in Today FM, in Malak Island. Today FM rock.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In the news tonight, PM Bainimarama slams opportunists in ATS saga. Cyprus nationals charged with money laundering. And 236 typhoid fever cases recorded last year.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Smith.
Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama says politicians and unionists are using workers of this country for their own gain. Bainimarama did not mince his words, saying the opportunists were using the legal strike by the air terminal services workers for their own benefit. As we enter into the third week of the illegal walkout by the workers, Bainimarama says the workers did not follow the right procedure before the strike. Savara Tambor with more.
The ill-informed ATS workers who are being taken for a ride by the politicians and union leaders have been told to differentiate between the right and wrong. He went on to state that the illegal workout, which continues into its third week, had put the lives of many at risk.
Recent walkout of employees from air terminal services was a poor example of teamwork, because it not only put the livelihoods of their colleagues at risk, but other Fijians who are working for various companies at the airport and within the wider tourism and air transport industry.
Bainimarama says most opportunists with political agendas will surface to use the workers such as those from ATS for their own benefits.
If you walk away from your job or violate the law, they will go back to their comfortable homes, in their nice cars, and to their own paychecks, while you are left out in the cold, or in this case, in this blistering heat.
Bainimarama says the opportunists were using the workers for their own benefit and were behind the non-committal of signing of the return to work document.
It is these trade unions, unionists and politicians who have influenced the striking ATS employees and are preventing them from going back to work.
The PM says that the workers need to follow the proper channel and need to think twice before being influenced by others.
We have laws that allow employees to strike if they cannot get satisfaction at the bargaining table. Those laws lay out procedures and timelines that everyone must adhere to.
He says that the workers need to realize that union leaders and politicians are not the ones spending time without pay and trying to look after their families.
When you are on the job, you need to protect yourself from those who use you to help themselves or only benefit themselves. You need to think for yourselves.
Bainimarama says that the union leaders and politicians have found a platform to start election campaigning and the workers were being used by those with other motives.
There are many people, many cheap politicians among them who are interested in you and your well-being, but who are interested in making headlines and building a campaign platform for this year's elections.
He also paid tribute to those workers who have been holding the fort since the illegal walkout. Sabara Tambua, FBC News.
Meanwhile, tomorrow will mark 3 weeks of the dispute at ATS with no signs of issues being resolved. The ATS Employees Trust says there has been no development, while the ATS management says they will refer the matter to the mediation when all workers report back to work. Felipe Naikaso reports.
The ATS Employees Trust maintains its stand of wanting an independent mediator to preside over negotiations, also stating that they are disappointed with how things have been handled.
Everything is at a standstill since the mediation process concluded abruptly, and we feel that despite Mr. Usumati saying that they have exhausted all mediation process, we don't believe so, and we have urged that they reconvene and bring in an independent mediator to preside over the discussions.
However, the ATS management says it is ready to listen and talk, provided all the right channel is followed.
Yeah, we're going to mediation once the employees come back to work, and then we'll sit down And a mediator, whether it's from the ministry or somewhere else, could sit there, and then we'll talk from there on.
The ATSET secretary has claimed that the issues have not been addressed, something which has been strongly disputed by ATS.
Whether it's 27, whether it's 20, whether it's 13 or 5, the issue is still there on the table to be discussed. The issue of mismanagement, sexual harassment, the issue of the selling of our shares being discussed behind our backs is still there. Regardless of the numbers, there still continues to be breaches on the operational line, and the issues are still on the table.
He needs to elaborate with objective evidence as to what he means by mismanagement. And that's a very broad term, so to speak. The selling of the shares. If you own shares and you want to sell it or otherwise, it stays with you as a prerogative. ATS, the company, does not have a right to enforce the or to coerce them into selling their shares. We don't.
The ATS management is offering workers to sign that shares letter and return to work. However, the ATS Employees Trust Secretary says they will only return to work without signing any letter. Philip Naikaso, FBC News.
A 4-day major planned shutdown by the Water Authority will affect residents in Nadi and Lautoka next month. The disruption is due to a major maintenance work that will be carried out at the water treatment plant in the hills above Nadi. Akusita Tale with the details.
Residents living in Nadi and Lautoka will experience a major water cut from February 3rd to the 6th as Water Authority officers work on a defective control valve and a main transmission pipe to the Nangando water treatment plant.
You can see the leakage. So we have to do this, we have to do the planned operation because otherwise it will be a disaster. That means it will take more time to rectify this valve.
Areas affected will be Nadi and some parts of Lautoka, excluding the city center and some outer boundaries of the city, who are supplied water through Mbuambua and Saru water treatment plant.
There will be 100 water cutting trucks cutting water to major services like hotels, schools, businesses and hospitals, so that the major services are not affected.
The entire maintenance work is expected to last for 4 days. Water supply will be restored by 5 p.m. on February 6th. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
2 Cyprus nationals charged with money laundering and obtaining property by deception have been remanded in custody by the Suva Magistrates Court. They have had previous cases in court, and it was revealed today that the duo have over 200 charges that will be laid against them. Ana Ravulo reports.
Brothers Loizos Pedrodis and Clendis Pedrodis have been charged with 299 counts of money laundering and obtaining property by deception. 6 of the charges have been filed, while the remaining 293 charges to be filed in the next hearing. It is alleged on December 19, 2017, the 2 allegedly engaged directly or indirectly in transactions involving $2,660 that were proceeds of crime, knowing or ought to have reasonably known that the money is derived from some form of unlawful activity. The details of the remaining 293 charges will be released once the file is produced before Magistrate Chiochimbose Wanga. In court today, the 2 brothers asked if they could have their MasterCard to buy food while in remand. Magistrate Asanga Bodaragama told the duo they won't need a MasterCard at the remand center. He says the card is also being used for investigation. The case will be recalled on the 16th of this month. Ana Ravulo, FBC News.
236 typhoid fever cases were recorded throughout the country last year. Akusita Tale reports the majority of these cases were from the Northern Division.
Northerners are being advised to not only monitor mosquito-borne diseases after the recent dengue fever outbreak, but also beware of typhoid cases.
In the Northern Division, we have had 116 cases in total for the entire year. And this division has the most cases compared to the central, western, and eastern divisions. Most recent cases in the north have been in the Savu-Savu area, specifically in Natua village, where there were 7 confirmed cases last month.
Acting National Advisor for Non-Communicable Diseases, Dr. Alisha Sahukan, says a sub-divisional response outbreak team around Savu-Savu had been working to contain the spread of typhoid in villages.
Typhoid fever is a problem in the northern division, and it is very much a disease that's related to not having access to clean water as well as a proper sanitation or disposal of human waste. So we tend to see it in places that are informal settlements or in the rural areas.
The Health Ministry says the response team is closely monitoring the situation and is committed to provide the necessary treatment and support required. Akusita Taling, FBC News.
Still to come, Thai-level villages to benefit from rural electrification. And taxi drivers to get first dibs at permit applications. Stay with us.
Bula, kera mai singatoka, kera ndo talita kana varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and ndo moi viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Kuminasong butukola ndo talita kana Radio Fiji 1 kina ndo moi viti.
Kaya kuyaga sila tale, nagurara may nawamanyi, nandunga. Gitu talita gini ang gitu pinasabali pag nagudurong varorong na Radio Fiji 1 nando moi viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 nando moi viti na bonga ni BNN.
The new Stinson Parade Bridge is set to open next Thursday. The Fiji Roads Authority is currently undertaking final touches to ensure everything is set before it opens. The opening of the new Stinson Bridge will be a relief to motorists as there will be no more detour into the city. FRA Chief Executive Jonathan Moore says ground condition and adverse weather were the 2 major challenges faced by FRA contractors while undertaking the work. The new bridge was scheduled to open mid of this year. 267 people of Navudha and Nakoruto settlement in Thai-level have benefited from the rural electrification project commissioned by the Prime Minister Vurengam Bainimarama this morning. Bainimarama says this is part of teamwork to ensure that the 8 years of economic growth are shared by everyone in the country. Now children in the settlement will be able to study and live in a more sustainable and safer environment. Bainimarama has confirmed that $42.6 million has been allocated to electrify homes in rural areas around Fiji this year.
We've grown our economy every year for the past 8 years, and it is our duty to transform that prosperity into real development that makes a real difference in the lives of people. That is what the Fijian Constitution demands, that is what the Fijian people deserve, and that is the spirit that has driven my government's ambitious agenda for development.
Drivers who are employed by taxi owners will be given the first chance to apply for a taxi permit. LTA says these workers will be considered as it's about time they start up their own business. Sanya Nyimboilo reports.
Good news for taxi drivers as their permit applications will be amongst the first to be processed.
The idea here is those drivers who have been employed by owners for a number of years, we give them first opportunity to make this application. And if they are the income is below 20,000, obviously, and if their name comes out of the barrel, obviously they will be successful.
Maharaj says one of the requirements is for the applicants not to have held a permit before.
If you have another taxi, 1 taxi or 2 taxis, you may not be eligible.
Drivers will help them have their own permit, rather than being driving for others. It's good to have their own permit and run their own permit.
We need to see for the poor people who doesn't have, who wants to do business, you know.
Driver to be on taxi. If they're driving to another taxi, they not bring some money at home.
All applications will be reviewed by an independent committee, which will be appointed soon. All applications will now be done under the new LTA amendment regulation. Sainia Nimboila, FBC News.
The rehabilitation of Nassau village on Coral Island will begin this month. Village headman Kilioni Thamani says that some families are still living in tents, but that will soon change. Anna Ravulo reports.
It's almost 2 years and the villagers of Nassau are slowly getting back on their feet.
Ten families sometimes still depend on tents, but it's usually just a place to rest. Plans are ongoing to help these families have a proper home.
Thamani says they are liaising with their village committee in Suva about the rehabilitation.
We have a plan with our committee from Suva in terms of rebuilding proper homes from some villages. It hasn't been easy for us, but we're taking it day by day.
Minister for Health Rosie Akbar says they are supporting these villages 100%.
But I know that the physical recovery is only part of the story. I'm sure that for many of you, the memories of T.C. Winston is still troubling you. And that is why it is important for you to know that the rest of Fiji, led by the government of the day in which I serve, stands beside you and is committed to supporting you recover for the long term.
Nassau village was one of the villages that was badly affected and 6 people died during T.C. Winston. Anna Ravulo, FBC News.
Ahead in sports with Jamie, he will have more on the CVC, but we now join Akosita for the latest in business.
Thanks, Jackie. Good evening. Coming up, over 400 building permits issued in 2017. And in growing, Fiji Nokonoko roundabout to get an upgrade. Stay with us.
Moala radada ranavika au tikonga na tau na singatoka ando talitaka na wakaronga na Bula FM number 2 na serre.
Ya dora subuli kurna bili. Ibora ni batu kara hambara binaranga. Do talitakina na waronga na Bula FM number 2 na serre. Bula.
Bula FM number 2 na serre.
Leading business tonight, over 400 building permits for construction work valued at over $69 million were issued by the city and town councils and rural authorities in the September quarter of last year. According to the Bureau of Statistics, when compared to the June quarter, the permits issued increased by 9.9%, while the corresponding value of work fell by 24.7%. When compared to the same quarter of 2016, the number of permits issued fell by 1.7%. Western Division accounted for the highest number of permits, which stood at 53.7%, followed by Central and Eastern Division, which accounted for 41.4%, while the Northern Division accounted for 4.9%. The total value of completion certificates issued stood at $26.2 million. We now join Rocco from HFC Bank with the latest from the financial market.
Thank you. An update on the major trading currencies. The US dollar stumbled against a basket of currencies this morning, failing to hold the previous day's gains on the back of upbeat US data. The Fijian dollar rose by 15 basis points against USD today. Employment numbers were better than forecast and will probably lead to high expectations for the US non-farm payroll report today. 250,000 job gains were reported versus 190,000 forecast for the US. The Australian dollar held its ground against a broadly firmer US currency as another round of upbeat manufacturing surveys argued well for global economic growth and commodity prices. The New Zealand dollar weakened by 34 basis points against Fijian dollar after upbeat US economic data. Upcoming events for today include US unemployment rate, trade balance, and Canadian unemployment rate. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Thanks, Rocco. Now looking at today's currency exchange rate set this morning for the Fijian dollar, the dollar gained against 5 of the currencies we cover and dropped slightly against the New Zealand dollar and the euro, except for the US. On the commodities market, oil prices were up slightly at $61.93 a barrel. Gold fell to $1,320.99 per ounce, while silver also went down at 17.18 an ounce. The Fiji Roads Authority will start pre-work on the Nokonoko roundabout in Lodala Beach, Suva from 9 p.m. Work will be carried out daily from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. until January 15th. General Manager Network Operations and Maintenance, Aram Goes, says the pre-work are for future intersection lighting and to fully resurface the roundabout. Goes says the initial pavement test carried out confirms that pavement layer is still intact and stable. Therefore, only the surface layer that is failing due to high traffic stress is required for resurfacing. He says they plan to complete the work before the beginning of the new school term. And that's business this evening. Now to sports. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Thanks, Akasita, and good evening. Up ahead in sports, Fiji Sevens team begin preparations for next leg of World Series. And Nandi Aviators out to avenge 2017 Melanesian Cup loss. This and more coming up.
मैं प्रेमिला वायरुकू रेकी रेकी से सुबह मेरी आँख खुलती है तो मैं मिर्ची एफएम सुनती हूँ। मिर्ची एफएम इज नंबर 1। इट्स सो हॉट।
हम लोग बार टाउन के कैरियर ड्राइवर लोगों ने हम लोग के मिर्ची एफएम सुनो अच्छा लगे। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट।
हाय, मैं संध्या नारिया रेकी से मेरे सारे दोस्त मिर्ची एफएम सुनते हैं। मिर्ची एफएम इज हॉट। आई लव मिर्ची एफएम।
हमें स्पिन टोटो ताबुआ के मिर्ची एफएम में सबसे अच्छा गाना बजे।
मिर्ची एफएम इट्स हॉट।
The Fiji Airways National Sevens team resumed camp earlier this week at the Uprising Resort in Pacific Harbour. Coach Gareth Baber will have his work cut out for him after the national side fell short to South Africa in the knockout stage in both Dubai and Cape Town. 20 players are in camp battling for a spot in the final 12 for the team to Sydney and Hamilton. Fiji is pooled with New Zealand, Samoa and Russia in the Sydney Sevens, which will be played from the 26th to the 28th of this month. The team will be named next week. This year's Melanesian Cup Challenge will be a repeat of last year's, with the Nandi Aviators to take on the Lay Snacks Tigers in PNG. After being steamrolled 40 points to 4 at Lawanga Park in 2017, the Fijian club champions are putting in a lot into their preparations, taking help from wherever they can, even from an unlikely source. Felipe Naikaso explains.
Right, that's when you dip. He is a familiar face of the rugby field who has decided to share his training knowledge to even a different rugby code.
I'm grateful for being given the opportunity just to come and, teach them the dynamics of, training and rugby and how strength work in the gym, and applying that to their game.
The former Flying Fijians player will be with the side for a while and is aiming to improve the players' conditions.
These boys, most of them have played union, and just teaching them the fundamentals of rugby union, how to catch a ball, how to pass a ball, how to, create space, space awareness, evasive skills. Those are the things that, I'm just trying to implement today. But these boys are well drilled, and, I'm just adding a bit of, ideas on top of that. So
the Aviators will also look to avenge their 40 points to 4 hammering to the Tigers in Lawanga Park last year.
We are preparing well this time. The only difference is the team started preparing in November.
The 2018 Melanesian Cup Challenge will be held in Port Moresby next month. Felipe Naikaso, FBC Sports.
Island Breeze Rugby Plus is mixing things up with its outreach program this year. The organization formed to develop grassroots rugby and to prepare current players for life after rugby is opening its doors to other sports. Organizers of its week-long clinic in Overlau next week will use the opportunity to impart their knowledge with youth involved in other sports. Eroni Tuinuku reports.
The Island Breeze Rugby Clinic has more to offer than just the basics of rugby.
It's not only about rugby, the sports. It's open, it's netball. We have AFL sending a team to Levuka this weekend. About 7 of them will be representing AFL Fiji for the clinic.
The program is also a pathway for higher honors.
Successful participants from the rugby clinic that will join our team for an exposure, 3 months exposure trip to Australia.
Character building is also one of the goals for the clinic.
As we all know, most of youth look at rugby players as a role model. So this program actually enhances a character of a rugby player to be a good citizen, to be a role model, and good role model to the youths of today.
More than 400 participants are expected to attend the Life After Rugby Clinic program that will be held at Rukuruku Village in Ovalau from the 9th to the 15th of this month. Eroni Tuinuku, FBC Sports.
Former Fiji beach volleyball rep Apanisa Saukuru will be Fiji's first ever umpire at the Commonwealth Games in April. Saukuru won Fiji's first gold medal in beach volleyball with partner Waisile Suka at the 2002 Oceania Beach Volleyball Championships after upsetting New Zealand in 2 sets. He says being chosen to be an umpire at the Games is something he will cherish for the rest of his life. Meli Tavanga reports.
The news of being called in to be one of the umpires at the 2018 Commonwealth Games came as a surprise to Apanisa Saukuru.
It's a mixed emotion. No, I was excited, I was kind of freaked out as well. But I'm excited to go, and I know it has a lot of responsibility.
43-year-old who holds the highest accreditation in the country says he's looking forward to putting his knowledge to practice after returning from training in Australia.
I learned a lot from Sydney, and I believe Commonwealth officials, they are expecting more from me.
Saukuru has been assisting Team Fiji as they prepare for their overseas tours next week.
There will be qualified coaches, there will be qualified clinics. That will be held, technical clinics that will be held, just to help all the players that are participating in this camp to actually practice and also put it into practice whatever they learned.
Saukuru is currently working with Beach Volleyball Fiji to help guide and educate our local umpires and lift the standard of the sport in the country. Meli Tawanga, FBC Sports.
Fiji football striker Christopher Wasasala has played many games for Lambasa at Subrel Park, but tomorrow he'll return home to face his former teammates. Wasasala, who is now contracted to Lautoka, is expected to play a key role in the Blues' defense of the Pillay government's Champion versus Champion Series title. He has also become an integral member of the national team with impressive performances in the midfield.
Last 2 weeks, we aim for this CVC, and we'll give our best to maintain our game structure, and yes, we'll give Lambasa a good game.
Colin Munro became the first player from any country to score 3 centuries in 2020 internationals as he smashed 104 from 53 balls to help New Zealand beat the West Indies yesterday by 119 runs and sweep the 3-match series. That's it from Sports Tonight. Angie joins you later on with weather. And in new media, look at how some people are making money using their smartphones. Find out more after the break.
Bula, kera mai singatoka, kera ndo talita kana varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoi Viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Kombinasyon mo sekolah untuk talita na Radio Fiji 1 kena Domoi Viti.
Yang gue atau silil tale, nagura ramai na omanyi, nandunga. Gitu talita gini yang gitu Venezuela pun nagutur rongo, barong na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoi Viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 na Domoi Viti na ponga ni BNN.
In new media tonight, want your phone to do more than just the usual? Surprisingly, it is becoming an easy and effective tool for putting cash back in your pocket. It's weather time now with Angie.
Hello to you and to the weekend. It's been a wonderful Friday, really strong sunshine in the hood, and with all this sunshine, the pickles must be ready by now. Taking a greater look in the west today. Mostly clear, with sunshine making everything look so beautiful. Eastwards, from Peck Harbour to Suva, much of the same. I'm actually liking the sun, but it's too hot. Showers are likely for tonight. And up north, mostly clear up here, with no sign of any rain for the day. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots with moderate to rough seas. And for the tides, high tide tonight will be at 10:13 with low tide tomorrow morning at 4:11. Sunrise will be at 6:37. For tomorrow, there is light rain indicated for parts of the eastern and the northern division. Tomorrow's temps, Nandi and Sabu Sabu will be moderate with highs of 31 degrees. And looking further on to Sunday, rain could get heavier as we get into the afternoon phase. And that's all from the FBC Weather World. Jackie. Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fijian Pulse today, we asked, should major changes be made to the Fiji Sevens team for Sydney and Hamilton?
Yes, I think they should make some changes.
I think Beba should include some new players.
I think this team is good.
I think they have to change their team because they can maintain the thing and improve themselves.
Team should they improve from their last leg. They should maintain.
The 17 they should remain the same because they have to maintain their skillful and talented people. Because the team was not good in the last series. Last performance they made.
I don't think there should be any changes to the team. Those who prove themselves who are worthy to don the Fiji jersey, and they should go for it.
Recapping the main stories, PM Bainimarama slams opportunists in ATS saga, Cyprus nationals charged with money laundering, and 236 typhoid fever cases recorded for last year. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Now to our poll question for this week, we are asking, were you happy with the police patrol over the festive season? Visit our FBC website to answer. Before we go, our shot of the day for the last working day of the first week of January comes all the way from Navua, sent in by Joel Israel. This was taken at the Ndakuni village at the Benga Island and was taken off the first boat that left from Navua. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. You can also follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. That was the FBC News for tonight. From the team and I, stay safe, have a safe long weekend. Bye for now.
Bula, kera mai singatoka, kera ndo tali taka na varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti.
Ayaw na rin siya. Uti kami na sa mga kola, ndo tali taka na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti.
Kaya kuya sila tali, naguraramay na omanyi, nandunga. Gitu tali tajiri ang gitu Venezuela, nagudurong varorong na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti.
Na Radio Fiji 1 and Domoy Viti na bonga ni BNN.